Now, the Bhagavad-Gita presents uh, certain interesting insights, some tips on how to do our work, the art of work. As in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna defines yoga also as yoga karmasu kaushalam, the art of doing work. So in this first topic, karma, we are going to explore certain verses of the Bhagavad Gita dealing with this topic, and we shall try to see the practical applications of these interesting principles. Can we display the verse, please? So we are going to discuss today the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the verses, verse number 47, which is very familiar to all of us. Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. This is a verse which is very familiar to all of us. So we are going to study this verse today, and I would like to dedicate this discussion to our beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. Lord Krishna said, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Let us read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties refer to activities performed while one is in the modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such action. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work, in terms of the scriptural injunctions, is done without desire for results. As one has to do it, obligatory work is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So as I mentioned, it's a very familiar verse, one of the very beginning verses of Bhagavad, which introduce us to the concept of karma. Now, karma means the work that we do. Now, in this verse, Lord Krishna is saying, we have the right to perform our karma, to perform our action, prescribed work, For example, for a student, the prescribed work is that he has to study, he has to attend the lectures, he has to prepare for the examination. These are his prescribed duties. These are his karma. So he has adhikara, he has right to perform those prescribed duties. But in the next line, Lord Krishna says, Ma phaleshu kadachana. You do not have any rights over the phala of the karma that you do. You are not entitled to the fruits of action. I have right to perform my work, but I do not have control over the fruits of my action. Very important concept. Now somebody may ask, if I do not have control over the fruits of my action, then why should I work? Yes, we have to work because at no point of time we can be inactive. That is our very nature. We have to work. Either physically or mentally. We are always active. You cannot become inactive artificially because that is not our natural position. So we have to work. Now, somebody may say, results are one of the motivating factors for me to work. So why Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad-Gita that you are not entitled to the fruits of action? Now the understanding for this is, yes, results can no doubt be an enticing or a motivating factor for us to work. But if you note the third line of this verse, it becomes very clear that we are not the sole doers. We are not the sole cause of the results. Ma karma phala hetur bhur. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities. So we are not our endeavors are not the only factors which decide the results of our action. Now what are the other factors? Yes, you will understand that during the course of this series, we will discuss many more factors that come into picture while producing the results of an action. Now the advice that Krishna is giving to Arjuna and to all of us is Mate Sangostva Karmani. Never be attached to not doing your duty. We have to do our duty, and we have to do our duty as an obligation. Duty means obligation. You're supposed to do it. But do not consider that you are the cause of the results of your work. That is very important. Now this kind of a detached work brings in a lot of peace of mind. Imagine if you are a student and you are preparing for your examination. During the preparation is your duty, isn't it? During the preparation, if your mind is always thinking about the results, whether you will pass in the exam or not, whether you will get this kind of a question in the exam or not, whether the evaluator is going to evaluate your paper nicely, with whether he's going to be liberal or not. So if all these thoughts are occupying your mind, will it be possible for you to give your best during your performance of duty? No. So what is in your hand for the exam is in your hand. But what is not in your hand? The result. What kind of questions will appear in the exam? Who will be evaluating your paper? All things are not in your hand. So why to worry about certain things which are not in your hand? Worry spoils the curry. We have heard. So we should not worry about things which are beyond our control, but we should only do things which are power of do. That is the first secret towards the art of work, karma, that Lord Krishna is revealing in this shloka. The modern day management gurus have also adopted many things from Bhagavad-Gita. They talk about area of concern and area of influence. We may be concerned about so many things in this, but we may be able to influence or do some only certain areas we may be able to act upon. which are under our control. So better, we should focus on the area of influence and not bother too many things which are outside the area of your influence. What I can do, if I do it very nicely, then I don't have to worry about any other thing. So you have the satisfaction that I have given my best. So that is the idea that is conveyed in this shloka. Now, anyone has any points to make, any questions to ask, I request you to please make your point or ask your question. Okay. So I think nobody has a question. So to reiterate the point, focus on what you can do. Do not worry about the results because results are not completely in your control. But what is in your control is your endeavors. So focus on the endeavors. And in this way, you attain satisfaction of doing your duty well. In the coming sessions, we will discuss more details about karma, the art of work, as revealed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita. We shall talk about the different factors which come into play during an action. We will talk about the mood in which one has to work. We will also talk about how our work can become worship if it is done with the right consciousness. So these are all the different topics that we are planning to cover in the future sessions. Thank you all for being part of the session. Hare Krishna.